In October of last year, we were contacted by the New Mexico Steam Locomotive and Railroad Historical Society to see if we could help with a part of their locomotive restoration project. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe number 2926 was nearing completion of a 20-year restoration project and was about ready to go back in service, but she'd lost her voice over the years. The combination of high-pressure, superheated steam and more than 40 years in a park took its toll on the whistle, and it was ready for an overhaul. Once the whistle arrived in our shop, the large spring cap was a dead giveaway that this was a locomotive finished materials whistle, or better known as an LFM 6-chime. LFM provided steam appurtenances to the railroad beginning in 1905, and their whistles would become synonymous with the AT&SF. We started the restoration by sandblasting off all of the engine oil and dirt that had accumulated over the years of service and disassembled the whistle. As soon as we unscrewed the spring cap, it was obvious that the threads had been damaged to the point of no return. The same condition was visible on the fulcrum casting as well. Since the engine operates at 300 psi, the thread engagement was critical to keep the whistle bowl together while in service. The languid plate was also not concentric to the bowl, and this condition allows more steam on one side of the whistle than the other, making some of the notes play louder while not allowing the others to sound at all. We started the repairs by chucking up the bowl in the lathe and taking a cut on the center hub to give us a good solid starting point. The face was cut square to the center hub, and the inside of the steam admission slit was machined until a solid thickness of cast iron was maintained. Once all the faces were cleaned, we made a fixture to hold the bowl from the valve seat. Since both the fulcrum and the spring cap must be centered with the poppet valve, having both threads be concentric with the seat is critical. As you can see, the original machining was off by quite a bit. We bored out and cut new threads into each side of the cast iron bowl so there would be a strong engagement when we reassembled the whistle. Since we enlarged the outside diameter of the steam admission slit, the original languid plate was now too small. We made a new languid plate from brass. The new plate puts the slit width back to factory specification. When we enlarged the bore and cut new threads into the bowl for the spring cap, we committed to making a new spring cap. We created a pattern out of aluminum that was sent to the foundry to be poured in red brass. While we waited for the patterns to be poured, we machined a new face on the poppet and lapped it into the bowl. As soon as the castings arrived back to the shop, we machined the new part to mate up with the new threads, and we had a solid fit. Repairing the threads on the fulcrum casting was a little more involved than a simple replacement. We needed to keep the original casting, but enlarge the diameter so we could rethread the part with deeper thread engagement. We made a mandrel that held the casting from the poppet guide and then machined off a good portion of the body, but leaving enough material to secure the new piece. We made a ring of brass with a deep interference fit and heat shrunk it onto the body. To make sure it would not come loose under the stress of use, we drilled 4 holes on the face at the shear line and pressed in 4 pins. The part was then sent to my brother's shop in the Sierra foothills for TIG brazing. Steve fused the entire length of the shear line, assuring that it would never move again. Once the part arrived back at our shop, the final machining could be done and the bowl was completed. A coat of paint finished off the project, and then the whistle was returned to the 2926 to await steam. On May 22, 2022, the boiler pressure was raised to 300 psi, and the rebuilt whistle sounded for the first time. We can't thank the New Mexico Steam Locomotive and Railroad Historical Society enough for allowing us to be part of their wonderful project.